Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Listen, we get week 8 games in the books. We about to hit y'all off with a real good episode. We got one of your fan favorites right in here. We're gonna bring him right on in. We ain't gonna waste no time because you see I'm flying here. Let's see how he is, okay? Okay. Okay, I see you representing. But I just want you to know he don't play for that team no more. Just to let you know. Those days ain't today. I just want you to know, and we about to talk a lot of stuff today. Those days ain't today. And I want you to know that.
Listen, you gotta be in a playoff hunt to talk to me like that, young man.
we we in the playoff hunt. We in the playoff hunt. We in the playoff hunt.
Y'all 4-4, 4 and forever.
We 4-4. We 4-4. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Cause you ain't got no room to talk today. I just want you to know, okay? so there's that.
The broke clock is right twice a day. It's cool. I'm comfortable with where my team is.
See, if you'd have had that the man in that jersey, if you'd have had him, you probably wouldn't have lost. I just want you to know that. But you don't. That's my first statement. So today we're gonna get into week 8 games, the week 9 games, and then we're gonna talk about some surprise teams. You know what I'm saying? I'm real curious to see who your surprise teams are. You know, some people caught you off guard with some stuff. So there's that. So we're gonna start off with the and also because you're one of the biggest promoters of that. Also been bigging up the Cuz You Don't Know Football Facebook group to everybody too, just to let you know. That's been we've been promoting that pretty heavy on the podcast.
Okay. We gotta get people to participate a little bit more. I'm looking for my Broncos, but I know he got some smoke for me because the Broncos ain't as trash as I thought they was gonna be.
I said, did you see in the stories? I said that in the stories. I said, yo, the Broncos ain't bad, yeah.
And they also had a soft schedule, but we ain't gonna talk about that.
Listen, they beat who was on them. This ain't college. They beat who was on them, okay?
I gotta zip it because I gotta see them next week. You know what I mean? I gotta see them on the 3rd.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that a little bit. All right, so let's get into it. First game. Well, first of all, I just want to say because we ain't gonna talk too much about that game, but shout out to the Rams for getting back into things. I do like what they got going on, but they're not there yet. I want to see what they do the next month now that they got their wide receivers back and everything. So I want to see what happens with them, but they're not there yet. But shout out to them. So starting off, we're gonna start with the Eagles and the Bengals. So of course the Eagles went into the Bengals and put a belt to their ass and beat them 37-17.
Yes.
Let's go to some player stats. Joe Burrow was 26 of 37, 234, one touchdown, one pick. Nothing really on the ground, but Chase Brown did have a rushing touchdown. He had one touchdown, but he only had 32 yards rushing. And Mike Gesicki led them in receiving, but Jamar Chase had their one touchdown in the air. And on the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts was 16 of 20 for 236 yards, one touchdown, no picks. Saquon had 22 carries for 108 yards. But Jalen Hurts also had, he only had 37 yards rushing, but he had 3 tutties. Devontae Smith, he had 85 yards receiving with a touchdown, and AJ Brown also had 84 yards receiving, but no touchdowns. So what's going on now with this? Okay, talk to me. Make some sense of this.
The Eagles look pretty bad without AJ Brown on the field. With AJ Brown on the field, it makes the team kind of unstoppable. This team is who the 49ers were last year. Saquon Barkley is he doesn't catch as good as CMC, but he runs just as good. Adams and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, they add to that repertoire. You got a mobile quarterback with all these options. It's going to be hard to stop, especially because defenses aren't as stacked as offenses.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, this is kind of how the Bengals been built for the last few years. They, you run into that issue with salaries, and letting Joe Mixon go and letting Tyler Boyd go with T Higgins out, that's it is looking like you bet on the wrong horse because they got nothing on the ground, nothing. Um, Jamar Chase and the tight end, they did all
Just
the and it just wasn't enough for the squad.
mhm.
I think they had like a real weird stat, but I can't remember what it was. Like Jamar Chase, I mean, all he had was one touchdown, but all they had to do was key in on him. No one else was doing anything with Higgins. I think is Higgins out for the season?
I don't think he's out for the season, but he was out for this game.
I know he's out for extended period of time, and like in the past, this is where Tyler Boyd would have came in handy, and then you wouldn't have been able to key in on Chase.
Correct.
It Joe Burrows is looking mad regular this season.
So I don't think Joe Burrow is looking I don't think Joe Burrow's been playing bad. I think once again, I think they were a team that was constructed incorrectly, and because of past success, it was kind of dependent on. Look up and see if T Higgins is out and how long he's out for real quick. Um, for me, like I said, their offensive line, they never really fixed that offensive line. I've always felt bad for Joe Burrow and how much he was getting hit and how many times he got hit. I always felt bad for him. I'm likening his career to Andrew Luck's, to be honest with you. Uh great talent, great talent.
Now it's just a quad injury, so he's not out for it. Somebody's out for an extended period of time, but it's not T Higgins.
Okay, so he'll be back what, like next week?
Yeah, he's possibly back. He was only questionable this week, so
Okay. Okay. So there's that. So
right.
so once again, so when you start getting injuries when you already have a bad offensive line, um now those weapons start going out, and anything that goes out, it throws off everything, and I think it's sad, but this will be the week, and you can hear it from me first. This will be the week I'm gonna say it. I'm moving off of the Cincinnati Bengals as a playoff threat. I'm moving off of it. I think think about how whatever you feel about them, they have as many losses as the Miami Dolphins, and the Miami Dolphins have been a laughingstock, you know? So it looks more likely that the Dolphins are getting healthier and moving towards the playoffs than it looks like the Bengals are going to get it together to be in the playoffs. But in terms of Eagles, I can be real quick with that. Listen, they got it together. Like it looks like Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are kind of on the same page with stuff. This is what you were kind of scared of when it came to the Eagles. I think they're back. I think they'll get it together. I think they're still. This is it.
Eh, be looking good against a bad team don't really like do it for me. Like they have a star-studded team. They have talent at every position. They got either someone who's paid or someone who's a first round draft pick everywhere you need someone. So I'm not really sold on them just yet. Like because the fact that you had a season like you're having, like yeah, I mean they only lost 2 games, but at the same time that you expected them to be this good all season. You know what I mean? They lost to the Falcons and they lost to the Buccaneers already. The Buccaneers was a bad loss. And then they've beaten a bunch of they beat Green Bay. Like they haven't beaten anybody. So they've beaten all the sorry teams and then they lost to 2 teams that I shouldn't be able to say is in their caliber. So I'm not sold on them.
So my quick question is simple because last year they went 9-1 and then went off the rails. Who would you rather see in the playoffs? A team that started off nicely and became stagnant, or a team that had a rough, hasn't shown something, but you know what talent that they have, and then now they're figuring it out.
Um so this Eagles team will not be tested until the playoffs. They have a very soft schedule. They're playing that NFC West division, and the NFC West division is already proven to not be good. Besides their own division, outside that, they're playing the NFC South. Like playoff threats on their schedule left: the Commanders, the Steelers, and then they have the Ravens. Commanders, Steelers, and the Ravens. They're playing the Rams, the Panthers, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Cowboys.
Did you say the Steelers too?
Yeah,
Okay.
like they have a very soft schedule, and losing to uh the Bucks and the Falcons early is not a. Although the Bucks and the Falcons look decent, no one had them at the top of the NFC during the preseason or the end of last year. Like
I think the Falcons had some noise towards it. I think the Bucks is definitely no. But the Falcons, I think there was at least some people that said, listen, this, like the talent on this team, if they get it together, they can make some noise.
you said they would be better with Kirk Cousins. I remember that, and
Yeah.
I'm believing Kirk Cousins still to this day. But guess what? I will admit you're right, but I still don't think saying making noise and saying they should be on the Eagles caliber is two different things.
Fair, fair, fair.
That I'm saying. Like they had talent at every position but quarterback. The Eagles have talent at every position. Actually, the Falcons don't even have as much defensive or offensive talent as the Eagles.
No, they do not.
Like even not 100% healthy, the Eagles
No,
should.
the Eagles are the more talented team offensively and defensively. That's correct.
Yeah. So losing to them,
On paper.
that makes me a non-believer in you.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, let's move on. You was talking about those Bucks and Falcons. Well, let's just talk about that game now. So the Bucks, where was this game? It was in Tampa Bay. So the Bucks went into Tampa and won a divisional game, 31-26. Um, let's see. Baker Mayfield was 37 of 50 for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Nothing on the ground. I'm not even going to bring that up. Cade Otton had 9 receptions for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Rashad White had their other touchdown. Let's go to get to. I'm working on stop saying so much. I feel like I say a lot. Kirk Cousins was 23 of 29 for 276 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Bijan Robinson had 63 yards rushing, no touchdowns on the ground. Kyle Pitts had 4 receptions for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. Darnell Mooney had 1 touchdown on 86 yards receiving. And Bijan actually had a reception or a receiving touchdown as well. Let me start here because there's some things I wanted to say. First of all, I want to give props to Baker Mayfield for coming out and having a season that is becoming of not just a top 5 pick, but a number 1 overall pick. His rebound with these Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I have noticed it, and he's not as trash to me as it seemed like he was when he was in Cleveland. And I want to say that, and that's real.
I feel like everybody's trash in Cleveland. Like there are a few franchises.
Not Jameis.
James had one good game, my boy.
Not Jameis. Okay. I just wanted to check. I just wanted to check the temperature real quick. Okay.
James had one good game. Not my boy.
With that said, hold on, I'm gonna give you your time. I'm gonna give you your time. But with that said, Kirk Cousins, man, 23 of 29, 276 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. I keep trying to tell you about Kirk, man. Look, and I even told you they brought him in to make Kyle Pitts look good. And look, Kyle Pitts probably had the best game of his career too this year, right now too. Four receptions, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins is stabilizing this franchise. They have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent at a lot of places. I'm not taking that away from them, but they need somebody that says, all right, calm down. We need this to work for us to win long term. Kirk Cousins is making it easier for that defense. And I'm not saying he's been perfect or great every week or anything like that. but they are in first place in their division. And like I said, they're overachieving, beating teams like the Eagles, who have a lot more talent than them. I like what's going on here in Atlanta. They're a team that I really feel as though can make some real noise in the NFC. The NFC playoffs is going to be very interesting come playoff time. That's all I really got to say about that. Go ahead.
So my thing is, I don't I still think Kirk Cousins is trash. I don't want to misconstrue words. He is the luckiest man in football because he always ends up in a favorable position. I really just didn't understand picking up Kirk Cousins because you're picking up a rookie wideout and you gave Kirk Cousins a big contract, 4 years. He's getting something like 4 years, 160. I think that's too much when you could have got a Russ for $1 million. You know what I mean? Because all you need is a 1 or 2 years because you picked your quarterback up. That $80 million that you're gonna have him as a backup quarterback, you're paying him $40 million for 2 years. You need him to start, and in 2 years you're gonna have him come off the bench for $80 million.
You keep talking. I'm putting myself a drink real quick. You keep talking, brother.
I just thought that was a bad for a team that's going to need that money because that's when you're going to have to re-sign a Bijan, re-sign uh, a Kyle Pitts. Like I just didn't like that move at all. But like you said, we had a Kyle Pitts sighting. This is the Kyle Pitts that they said he would be 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Um, he had 2 touchdowns yesterday. And I believe before the season, he had 6 touchdowns in his whole career. So I mean, I'm still not a believer in the Falcons. Call me a hater. Bijan
Hater,
with 100+ all-purpose.
hater.
I like that. The one bright spot for the Bucks, and this is going to be problems for other teams going forward, is the Bucks. Goddard got injured. Goddard's probably done for the season. He might be able to make it back for the playoffs. Mike Evans is out with a hamstring injury. The Bucks might have found that complimentary receiver for when Mike Evans comes back and Cade Otton with them 81 yards and 2 touchdowns because without that, this would have been real bad. I mean, I guess the score kind of doesn't really show how one sided this thing was because I think Kirk Cousins he got a safety in the fourth quarter or the end of the third. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I I still don't believe in Kirk Cousins. He's proven me
Fair, fair,
wrong.
fair, fair. Okay.
He's
All
proven,
right.
but
All right. I hear you.
bright spot for the Bucks. Cade Otton.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we're gonna move on to the next game because there's more games I feel like we're gonna talk a little bit more about that's on that list. On our list. All right. So let's talk about those Bills and the Seahawks. So the Bills, and I thought this would be a very interesting game. The Bills won actually 31-10. Went to work on them. Let's see what happened here. Let's go to the losers first. I don't know why I like to put the losers first, but I just like to get them. It feels like just get them out the way, I suppose. Um, Gino was 21-29, 212 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. He also led them in rushing with 16 yards. That'll let you know a lot. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 69 yards receiving. He led them. It really wasn't much more on there. Josh Allen actually threw his first interception of the season to Josh Jobe, just to let you know. This was pick number one. And that's big. And then I have something to say about that. Now going to the Bills, Josh Allen was 24 of 34 for 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. James Cook was 17 carries for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Khalil Shakir was 9 receptions for 107 yards, no touchdowns. But Keon Coleman had 5 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown. And Dalton Kincaid also had a reception. So this game, I'm gonna just start with it. This game, I think, proves a point that I've been kind of saying when teams are built incorrectly. The same point that I'm making, or that I made about the Bengals, I'm gonna make the same point about the Seahawks. The Seahawks are built incorrectly. They have all of these wide receiver weapons. Their offensive line isn't that great. And anytime they play a team who can beat them in the trenches, they're going to get exploited just like this every single time.
What wide receiver weapons? They don't. They have one receiver.
No, they have three wide receivers. They have DK Metcalf, they have Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they still have Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett got to be 75 years old.
He's also the number 3 wide receiver now. Okay,
He played with the Legion of Boom.
Tyler Lockett did not play with the Legion of Boom.
Tyler Lockett's been there
He
since
did not play with the Legion of Boom.
since the mid 70s.
You a hater, yeah. Didn't you tell me to say that earlier? You are a hater. With that said, for me, Josh Allen is the leading candidate for MVP right now. I predicted this in the preseason. He's thrown his first interception, and we're in week 8. What do you, like? This was the one thing that Josh Allen was actually bad at. He would go up and down and up and down and up and down, and he's actually been a steady force. And I think this how this roster is constructed. I think it suits him a whole lot more than with all those wide receivers. They look better. They are a scarier team today. They are a team that looks like they can go in and upset somebody today. I do think they do need some pass rushers. And I said that quietly just because I wanted to be clear in what I'm saying. But with that said, yeah, look at the Bills. The Bills are running away with their division. They have more wins or just as many wins as the rest of their division combined. This division is over. They will be in the playoffs, and I want to see what they do in the playoffs. But yeah, Josh Allen, MVP this year, 2024, 2025 season.
Just because the rest of the division is trash, I'm not. I mean, don't get me wrong. Josh Allen's playing great football. He's doing a lot, but I mean, the Seattle Seahawks didn't have DK Metcalf. They're a completely different team without DK. DK demands so much attention. He plays tough. He's a great blocker. Like he's probably the most important player on that team. Without DK Metcalf, you see how unsuccessful or how basically fucking terrible they are. They're not successful. They have zero run game. With DK on the field, you can't put 8 in the box. They got like 12 yards rushing. That's crazy. You have the wide receivers didn't have any production. Let me look at this game again. It's look.
Yeah, you look at it again.
This team, the Seahawks are, I think, like the number 9 rated defense, and Geno Smith is leading the league and passing yards. Look how many he still threw yards, but look at how many passing yards he threw without DK Metcalf. And if DK was there, there'd probably be another 75 yards on that. This game would have been a lot closer, but when you have a player like DK on your team and you have a quarterback like Geno Smith who is not elite, he's a little bit better than mid. Like you need that type of receiver to be able to put a stamp on the game.
When you say when you say a lot closer, what do you how much closer do you think it would have been?
The score was 31-10.
It would have been 31-17.
I'm going to go as far as 31, maybe 20 or 31-23.
No, I'm not seeing it.
When you have a DK on the field, that opens it up for everybody else.
No, I keep telling y'all, listen.
I'm not saying they would have scored.
Listen.
One more touchdown than 2 field goals because it would have gave you field.
Listen. When you listen, having a wide receiver means nothing if you can't protect your quarterback. You have to win in the trenches before before you have a wide receiver saying I can just go off and it makes that big of an impact. Okay, so even though all this is said, I think the Ravens. I mean, I'm sorry, this jersey is just throwing me off right now. The Bills still blow out the Seahawks because they're just better in the trenches. It's like it's not. They're not going to have enough time to allow DK to just get open for him to affect the game 17 points more.
I got you. I didn't say. Oh yeah, I did say 17. What is it? I didn't say 17 more points. I said 13 more points.
Wow. The semantics of these 4 points, I tell you. The semantics of these 4 points. I'm moving on, yeah. I don't even want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that game no more. All right.
And
Let's talk about
trenches, they're 30th against the run, bro. Like I knew I knew what I was talking about. You you're looking at them beating a team that was not complete. That's the same way the Eagles play when
who's 30th against the run.
the Bills. They're 30th against the run.
Yeah, so you need an offense. So if they have an offensive line that's dominating, that would come into play. But when you don't have a dominant offensive line, it don't matter if you think you can run the ball. You can't because their weakness is now lining up with your weakness.
Listen,
As I said, every time the Seahawks run into a team that can beat them in the trenches or match them in the trenches, they're going to lose and it's going to look bad.
it's not going to look as bad if DK's there.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're moving on. Cowboys 49ers.
Cowboys,
so so the 49ers beat the Cowboys again. 30-24, and it really honestly it wasn't that close.
yeah.
Dak was 25 of 38 for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Zeke had 1 touchdown, but it was only on 34 yards rushing. CeeDee Lamb had 13 receptions for 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I'm gonna go first on this one too, because I'm gonna give you your time. But I just want to make some things clear. Brock Purdy, he was 18-26 for 260 yards, 1 touchdown. I cannot pronounce this man's name. What's his name? Isaac. Can you say that man's name?
Guerrero.
Guerrero. Very good, sir. Very good. Isaac Guerrero, 14 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. And Brock Purdy also had 56 yards rushing and a touchdown. Receiving, George Kittle led him with 6 receptions for 128 yards, 1 touchdown. And Debo had 71 yards in his return. This is another example with the Cowboys of exactly what I said about Debo. A wide receiver can come in and do whatever a great wide receiver can come in and do what he wants. It's not going to matter. You know what I mean? This game, I understand that the game it looks like, oh, the Cowboys lost by 6. No, they actually lost by like 17. And they came back at the end.
Garbage points.
The Cowboys is a team, their game plan is their game plan. If you defeat that initial game plan, they have nothing. And tweaking of their game plan is not something that they're good at. And the 49ers when they tweaked their game plan, George Kittle went off in the second half. And they looked at it and they did what they did. The Cowboys need to blow this thing up. They need to see what they can get for CeeDee Lamb. They need to not re-sign Dak Prescott for that number, and they need to do this again. They need to try to trade what's my man's name? The defensive end. He didn't even play this game.
Michael Parsons.
Parsons. They need to trade Michael Parsons as well. This is not going to work. It's not there between the coaches, between the talent, between Jerry Jones. It's not there. They're not even going to make the playoffs this year. Okay. And you've heard it here. You're hearing me say it here first, very live for all of our tens to hundreds of people who are listening. They're not going to make the playoffs. This isn't going to work. And losing games by 6 actually is the biggest problem of them all, because you don't see the bigger problem. You don't see the urgency in where you are. You're very far behind. Coaching, talent, and what you think talent and everything. Like, you're very far behind. Okay? So that's my opinion on the Cowboys. With that said, the 49ers still got to watch them the next couple of weeks. I'm reserving my answers for the 49ers for the next couple of weeks. We can go on from there.
So the Cowboys are my exact answer for how DK Metcalf would have affected that game. Not saying they would have won, but with that great receiver to make up for the mistakes of that quarterback, like there would have been a closer game. Not a 30-31 game, but I'm thinking like a 31-23 or 30-31-20. Now this game, I don't agree with you. Well, one, they already re-signed Dak.
Well, that's not new. You never agree with me.
I already, yeah, you said they shouldn't re-sign him, but they already re-signed him. So my idea personally, and it don't work no more because the boy came back to Miami. I would have sold Dak to Miami for a draft pick because if two is out, you got the receiver sitting there. You might as well have a quarterback.
That wouldn't have worked because they already paying to it.
If you're on IR, does it still count against your salary cap?
Yeah, I mean it's not like the 50 million ain't going to them.
The franchise is worth billions. They can pay the money. I know there's just an amount of money that counts toward what they're allowed to have on the books. You know what I mean, like there's dead cap money and all that. I'm all right. That's not here nor there. Dak's already paid, so you can't do that. CD, I'm all on board with selling CD. If you're gonna blow it up and sell Parsons, that makes sense. But I also think that the team is salvageable because you have every piece that works. The only thing that doesn't work is the coaching. And we knew the coaching was still 2 years ago. We knew the coaching was still last year. Now, these two picks that Dak threw, those routes got jumped because everyone knows what you're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, they weren't bad throwing balls. They weren't even tip balls. At the end of the day, this coach is trash. And his philosophy, no one's bought into the philosophy, and everyone's blaming each other. So it's like that Spider-Man meme where everybody's pointing at each other, like who's the real problem? CD's not the problem. Dak's not the problem. Between Jerry Jones and a coach, I don't know if the coach doesn't have enough power or if Jerry Jones is making decisions that the coach doesn't agree with. Either way, those two, I think Jerry Jones needs to be a Robert Kraft in the office type guy. I don't think him being so day to day is good. I know it has made his franchise the most profitable franchise in sports, but it ain't translating to Super Bowls.
Yeah, but like you're right in everything that you're saying. Well, first of all, let me just start saying you're right in everything what you're saying. But in terms of them players, none of them are. I don't feel as though any of those players that are at the top uh, of the pay scale for the Cowboys are as good as their payments say that they are.
I would beg to differ. I think Dak no. CD
No, I'll say no. I'll say no because listen, all right, so we can go in here. So we might have to just let you know we might have to cut one of the other games just to kind of figure this whole thing out. But when it comes to CD, um listen, he's the kind of guy like this game. I'm very impressed with him having a 13 catches, 150 yards, 2 tutties. That's cool. But he's also a guy that usually, if he has a game like this, he usually is only one touchdown. He usually is a guy that's not having multiple touchdown games. You know why he's a guy who's not having multiple touchdown games? It's because in the red zone, he's a liability.
or because his coach can't scheme to save his life. That's why he won.
He can't scheme it, but what I'm saying is, so there's people that are good in the red zone, and that doesn't mean that they're tall. Some of them are tall, some of them are excellent route runners. What I am saying is when in the red zone, when I need the game plan to say, I'm gonna give him the ball and ain't nothing you can do to stop it. He's not that guy. And to have that much money as he's getting paid, you have to, if that percentage of the salary cap, you have to be that guy. And he's not. So that's what I'm saying when I say what I say. Dak is not. He's not worth the contract that he's getting. CD is not worth the contract that he's getting. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying any of these guys. I think all of them are good. Not top of the league. Not like that.
I just think that
Michael Parsons not going to be worth it when he gets it, and he's going to get it.
I just think that it's really depends on scheming. Could Michael Parsons went to the Ravens right now, he'd be defensive player of the year. Michael Parsons went to the Browns or the Steelers or the Seahawks or like his talent is there. It's just they missed their window. Like they had almost as much rushing yards as the Seahawks, bro. Like that. You like what you say, winning in
Okay, okay, I can live with it. Yes, yes, they missed their window. Yes,
they missed their window, but that I still think that CD and Parsons. I mean, that's the market for their level of talent. Dak, I don't know why the fuck they.
I'm with you, but it's going to go that way. What I'm saying is, once it goes that way, well, now you've tied up all the money there, and those players are not able to. The players that are paid, that CD, Michael Parsons, and Dak are not able to compensate for the rest of the deficiencies on the roster.
I'm I'm gonna tell you right now, there's not a player in football who could count. If you replace them with the three best players at those positions, they wouldn't be able to compensate because the coaching is that bad. And the coaching and the GM are that bad.
At those exact positions?
At those exact, if they had Justin Jeffries, Patrick Mahomes, and T.J. Watt, they would still be in the same position.
No, absolutely not.
I,
Now you said unfair thing, but absolutely not. They'd be way better. So what I'm saying is, you're right. It's not just the players, and it's not really the players. Once you start paying them that much, now it's kind of you too. You know what I mean? But on just on paper and just in terms of if you just took the money out of it and you talked about their attributes and leave it at that, no, I don't think any of them are bad players. But you gotta blow this up, and it's better to trade all of this before people just start leaving in free agency. It's better to get somebody for them, and they're not going to see it, and they're not going to do it. And
but saying that is kind of pointless because all right, give me one option where Dak could go right now for what he's getting paid.
well, a month ago we could have another conversation. What we got? 2 minutes. Let me give you a team where he could just go, um, totally ignoring like salaries and stuff like
Hey,
that. He
no,
could
no, you
go.
got to keep the salary in there. That's part of the problem. You're saying the problem is his pay, and I'm saying there's no one who's going to give him. He's getting like 4 years, 50 million, 4 years, 60 million. Like where could he go? Who would take that?
That it would make a
And
difference.
that would benefit that team, and that team would want to give them what something in compensation for it.
I don't think. Well, okay. So if we're talking about the money, then I'll have to stop looking because I wouldn't pay Dak Prescott top of the league money.
The,
But but
but,
but the but
but
being
I got one place for him. I got one place for him.
I don't. But I'm very curious. Are you gonna say the Saints?
No,
Okay.
the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is not coming back, and even if he did, he's terrible, and they don't have a second option.
But I'm still not tying up all the like. See, my problem is not the player, it's paying how much that it is. Like I would rather tell Dak, all
Here,
right, I
here,
gotta find another quarterback than pay you that much. If you could give me a discount on this, that and we got about like a little less than a minute on before we gotta run it back. If you give me a little less of a discount on it, then I'm all ears. But if you're telling me I gotta pay you top of the league money, I just wouldn't. I don't care who it is.
here's my issue though. You got two top end receivers, a top end running back. Your window closes in a year. So if you don't pay Dak, you don't even know what you're getting in the draft. That's the your back is against the wall. It like you have to have a closing window for Dak, and the Jets are the only team I can literally think of right now who would do that because they did it with Aaron Rodgers.
I suppose. All right, cool. We're gonna move right along to the Colts and the Texans. What did I do? I messed up. I messed up. Not too bad. So we're gonna go to Colts. My Colts, we got swept. We got swept over the weekend, and we lost to the Houston Texans, 23-20. I got a lot to say, but I'm gonna let you go first on this one. So Anthony Richardson was 10 of 32 for 175 yards, one touchdown, one pick. Jonathan Taylor was 20 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. Jonathan Downs was 4 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown. CJ Stroud was 25 of 37, 285, one touchdown, no picks. Joe Mixon had 25 carries for 102 yards, one touchdown. Joe Mixon went off on us this year. And you said the Bengals would miss it, Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon went off on us this year. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Stephon Diggs, although he did tear his Achilles in this game, he did have 5 receptions for 81 yards in his last game of the season. And Tank Dell had a reception. I had a receiving reception. Go ahead. Tell me about my Colts. I know you've been waiting for this moment. Go ahead.
Be honest with you, your coach might actually make the playoffs now. This game has so many playoff implications based off the fact that Anthony Richardson is benched as of today. They're starting Joe Flacco, who was in a similar situation last year with the Browns. Tank Dell, not Tank Dell. With Anthony Richardson, I don't know if he's not making it through his progressions or if only one receiver is getting open. But with a veteran like Joe Flacco back there who's going to sit in the pocket, you only had one receiver with more than one reception. That's fucking crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that in history. And that's the boy Joshua Dobbs or whatever his name is.
Josh Downs.
Yeah, one receiver with more than one reception. Your running back did his thing. Now, I don't know if your team's structured wrong where you need more receiver, or if that's Anthony Richardson is not learning the offense fast enough to read through the progressions. Either way, Joe Flacco is known for doing a lot with a little. Your team is 4-4. The team ahead of you in your division just lost their number one wide receiver. Now, they were just as capable last year, but the way they've been playing this year, like the games have been kind of close with the Texans, and I thought they were going to be favorites this year. Close game with the Bears, close game with the Colts, lost to the Vikings, close game with the Jaguars, close game with the Bills. They blew the Patriots out, lost to the Packers, close game to the Colts. I mean, with Diggs going down, I don't think it's an Achilles. I think it's a ACL.
That's Achilles. I might have said Achilles, but
I think it's his knee. I'm worried about this team. You know what I mean? Like before, my thought was they were great offensively last year. They added an additional veteran weapon who's your speed guy. You got Tank Dell as your possession guy. You got Joe Mixon. And they got another running back there. And I think with Joe I think that the team will be okay. But if they are just a little bit worse, that's going to keep the game open for your team to make the playoffs. We'll see if it's a roster structure thing or if it was an Anthony Richardson thing. I think that's why they're benching him now, because he wasn't bad enough to be benched. But maybe they didn't want him injuring himself because he is the future, and they don't you don't have your defensive end is injured now. I don't really understand benching your guy. It doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
Are you finished? Because I'm gonna go.
I'm finished.
Okay. You're wrong. He was bad enough to get benched. So first of all, he was 10 of like 30, which is like 30% completion percentage. So this isn't the first time he's had a completion percentage around that. So it's like 30 or 40%. Matter of fact, most of the games he's played this year, he's had 30 to 40%. which has pretty much been the problem in our offense all year. Now, I'm not saying it's all Anthony Richardson's fault. Our defense was like for a long period of time was ranked dead last. Our rush defense was ranked dead last for a period of time. That's all gotten better. To answer your question, not if Anthony Richardson is benched for the rest of the year, we'll probably make the playoffs. The point why I'm not smiling about that is because this doesn't matter, because if we get to the playoffs, we're not better than at least three to four teams in the AFC in the playoffs. We're not better than them. Anthony Richardson is supposed to be the reason why we're better than them, and he's not. Shane Steichen, this is a lot of Shane Steichen's fault as well. Shane Steichen developed a game plan that basically said Anthony Richardson, who, yes, he was a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, but played 14 games since high school. You know, he just hasn't played a lot of games, and then in his rookie year only played 4, so he's played like 7 games. Decided his best game plan was to put the ball in his hands. I've never seen a game plan like that with a rookie that was successful, because you're supposed to protect your rookies. You're supposed to develop a game plan revolved around their strengths and to minimize their weaknesses. And the game plan was, Anthony Richardson, I need you to pass the ball similarly to like Aaron Rodgers or Tua Tagovailoa or any quarterback that is good passing the ball. And I have no idea why they decided to go that route.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the personnel to like what they're asking him to do.
He can't do.
No one else has been asked to do that. Everyone else has.
You're right, and that's why Steichen. That's why, honestly, my real thought is this is a strike against Shane Steichen, because you asked him to do something that he can't do, and you expected him to be successful doing something that he can't do, and you wrapped up a whole game plan in it. I really think like the majority of the problem is with him. Now, my problem with this he tagged out because he was tired, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's a problem.
I played. Now I played a little bit of football in college. In high school. Little league growing up, high school. You knew people knew who I was. You know what I mean? I made all conference, and you know what I mean. I was an all-star and all of that. I played a little bit in college and stuff like that. I have never heard of a player saying I'm tired and that ever going over well. Matter of fact, the answers to I'm tired usually resulted in, oh, you're tired? Let me sit you on this bench for the rest of the year so that you can get all the rest that you need. I don't get this. Like, brother, remember the Titans? Where's Coach Boone when you need him? Where's Coach Boone? Coach Boone, I need you, because we got a player that says I'm tired and I need to sit. They wasn't allowed to be tired, okay? That's the football that I know. You tired in week 8 too. Hold on. You ain't allowed to be tired in off season. This is the middle of the season, and you talking about I'm tired? He tapped out and he said he was tired. We already got a stigma that we saw that we can't shake. And you tired? Bro, you don't want to play. You have the opportunity to be tired. Offensive linemen have no person where they can just say, yo, I'm tired, and that person come in. That's not how this works, bro. He tagged out, and I'm going to be honest with you. He let me down. And I was already kind of on the fence with looking at him, but I respected the talent. I acknowledged the talent, but it was just things. Once again, I'm still on record. I don't like having the fastest, highest jumping quarterback in the draft, because it doesn't put you in the situations that a good quarterback needs you to be in. Okay, they're just fat. There's a lot of faster, strongest arm, jumps the highest quarterbacks that failed in the NFL. I feel closer to we drafted the one that's going to fail. That's what I feel right now. But with that said, he's sitting down. If he sits down the rest of the season, we'll probably go to the playoffs. But our future is not it. Now, next year, I'm not. Some people are like, I don't want to see him ever again. Next year, he can come back. We can have this conversation. He can come back next year. For me, But right now, I really don't want to see him the rest of the year, and he really let me down in terms of that. I've never seen somebody just say, "I'm tired." Like I'm tired. This is the NFL. This is a privilege, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that before. That sitting out a play like that's crazy, especially in football, especially for the quarterback. I mean, because when they're switching out different personnel for
I had
running
to take a drink real quick because that actually did piss me off. Like, keep going, bro. Keep going.
with the other positions, you don't know if that happens because the personnel changes. Like the running back, there's a second string running back. There are five, sometimes 5, 6 receivers. I mean, like
Yo,
offensive
yo,
defense.
sorry, yo. I'm tired, yo. We're gonna have to cut this short, yo. You see what I'm saying? I'm tired, bro.
Emotion drain. Talk about your team. Man, I,
I said I'm tired. All right, go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying I have never seen that, but I I thought maybe it was something with the coach, like he was throwing a fit because he didn't like what the plays the coach was calling. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's cool. Um, let's move on to let's pick these week 9 games. That was cool. Still got yeah. Sometimes you gotta be mad at your own team. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to be mad at them because you say, I believed in you. You see what I'm saying? I believed in you. You see, sometimes you got to be a little mad at your team. So today's that. All right, cool. Week 9 games to watch. Even though the Cowboys on the brink. I'm gonna be honest with you, because we only talk about teams that's looking real good. The Cowboys on the brink of not being brought up no more on this show. Okay. But they're gonna be brought up this next week. Week 9 games. Cowboys versus Falcons. Who you got?
I have the Falcons. It's a must win for both teams. I don't think that I don't think the Cowboys are going to figure out by next week though.
Hmm. That's. I mean, I'm not mad at that. I'm not. Is it a must win for the Falcons? Is it really a must win for the Falcons?
Absolutely.
I mean, they would still be. Well, they'd be in second place if because they lost to the Bucks, so they'd be in second place. I think this is more of a must win for the Cowboys, and for that reason, I'm gonna pick the Cowboys. I just think the Falcons are not the 49ers, where even if they came off a bye, which they did, they still going to spank them, which the 49ers did spank them. But I think the Falcons are not the 49ers for the Cowboys, and I expect the Cowboys to win.
You expect the Cowboys to win?
I'm picking the Cowboys. I'm picking the Cowboys.
I, the Cowboys can't stop the run. Bijan
Mm-hmm.
Robinson run.
Mm-hmm.
The tight end situation ain't good for them either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going with the Falcons.
I understand. Listen. This might be the last time. If they lose this game, this probably be the last time I pick them. But I'm picking them to be a reasonable team, and I don't think that, especially with the Bucks, the Bucks are, especially with Baker Mayfield how he's playing, the Bucks are a very good team. I don't think the Falcons are going to run away with that division. So there's going to be some ups and downs, some peaks and valleys. So I think you know. Actually, no, they just beat the Bucks, so they would be tied for first place. So they'd still be in first place even with a loss. The Cowboys, however, will be like third in their division and a distant third if they lose this, and it's probably the end of their season. So no, I think the Cowboys are going to win this game,
unless they're tanking for a draft pick.
which they should be in trading a lot of pieces. Uh, okay, so no, I'm hold off on the next one. I'm gonna keep going. Uh, Rams Seahawks. What you got?
Rams Seahawks. I'm going with the Seahawks if Metcalf is back. If DK is back, I'm going with Seahawks.
Okay. I don't care if DK's back or not. I'm going with the Rams. I think the Rams. Listen, I think the Rams are about to start making noise. I think they can make some. I'm not sure because they did lose a lot of games in the beginning of the season. Thus, me still saying, even though that the Bears beat them without all these people, they're still going to be held against the Rams. So I think the Rams can start to make some noise now. You know what I mean? I'm very curious if that was the worst part of their season, right? And they lost 4 games.
Yeah.
You know, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. If they lose 4 again, okay, they'll lose 8 games this year. That would put them at 9-8. They lose 3. You see where I'm going? That could be they could be an interesting team. So I'm going with the Rams on this one. So Lions Packers.
Lions Packers.
And this is for first place right now, just to let you know.
One game separating them. I'm gonna go with Packers because the Lions are they're not healthy at all. They're healthy in key positions, but they got like a D end out.
He was the defensive player of the year, Aiden Hutchinson, before he had 7.5 sacks, and it was leading the league in sacks. Yes, he was like the defensive player of the year. Yes, he's out. Correct.
Yeah, the Packers are getting healthy right now. Like they're the healthiest they've been all season right now. But the only thing I don't like about that is Love doesn't protect the football, and what's his name? Jared Goff does. But I'm going with Packers, especially because young man for the Packers is from right here, South Jersey.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm also gonna go with the Packers in this game. I think the Lions just they played too good. They played too good and they blew people out. And now there's a lot of hype on them. And then you start smelling yourself and you start feeling like, I expect them to split the year, but yeah, they're not going to sweep the Packers. So I mean, which game do I think they're going to win? I think it's this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the surprise game of this early season, the Cardinals got back on this list. Where the Cowboys about to go off of it, the Cardinals worked their way back on this list because they're first place in their division. By the way, I don't know if you recognize that.
Yeah, a weak first place because
You can't. They're in first place. Don't do that to them.
3 teams have 4-4 records.
Are they in first place? Yes or no?
Yes, they're in first place.
Okay, then that's all we need to know. So the first place Arizona Cardinals. They're going up against the Bears. Who you got?
I'm going again. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals because they have the brother of of the Packers player. And Marvin Harrison Jr., although he doesn't have the numbers yards wise, he has like 5 touchdowns on the season. Early in the season, Kyler Murray is always very explosive, very good. As later in the season, he don't have it no more. So this gonna be where he starts to make his descent.
Okay. Actually, I got the Bears. So coming off of that heartbreaking loss, and I think they have to be the hungrier team. I also think that they're the more talented team as well. So I think they're the hungrier team and the more talented team. And if they lose this game, they'll be 4-4, and it would be a pretty deep hole. Like I mean, they're 2 games out of first place, and now we're talking about even the rest of the teams in the NFC, and there's a lot of teams with 4 losses, and now it gets real tricky for them. So I'm putting them in the victory column this week. So then we're going to end this week with your Ravens and the Broncos. Let me answer this first, okay? First of all, Broncos ain't nothing to mess with, yo. The Broncos ain't nothing to mess with, yo. I'm serious. Y'all are in for a dog fight, okay? Y'all in for a dog fight. With that said, if you'd have said at the beginning of the season where the Ravens gonna lose to the Browns and the Broncos in back-to-back weeks, I'd have said that's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna pick y'all. I'm picking the Ravens. But yo, don't act like y'all gonna blow out the Broncos. That's all I'm saying.
The Broncos have 5 wins on the season. Not one of them is a quality win. Put it to you like that. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Jets. They beat the Raiders. They beat the Panthers, and they beat the Saints. Come on now. Come on now. You were just talking about how what team was it? Had the Bills they have as many wins as the rest of it. How many the Raiders 2 wins on the season. Um the Jets, how many wins they got on the season? 2 wins. That's 4. I mean, like, come on.
I'm calling JB. You better hope he'll pick up.
Hey, call JB.
I'm
JB
calling
no.
JB.
Hey, listen.
I'm calling JB.
The Panthers got 1 win on the season. That's 5 wins.
Okay, here he is. JB, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yo, listen, I'm filming the podcast right now. I got Tazar here. You know he like the Ravens, and he playing y'all this week. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I did pick the Ravens, but I told him, listen, y'all got the Broncos, and the Broncos is the real deal, and he acting like y'all ain't the real deal.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, they on their high right now. They looking good. They running the ball well. I mean, we just out here to shock the world, man. I'm going for the Bronx. So.
Are you picking them? Are you picking the Broncos? Tell him you picking the Broncos.
Am I picking the Broncos?
Yes.
Of course I'm picking.
Heard it here first. Of
course I'm picking the Broncos.
Back-to-back weeks.
Sometimes you gotta be real with yourself, my boy. Sometimes you gotta be real with yourself.
And then sometimes the fairy tale story is what it is, man.
I like that.
We gonna see, man.
Listen, JB, he brings you up all the time, man. Zar brings you up all the time. He brings up your Broncos all the time, and I've just been trying to tell him, you know.
It's cool because we're not supposed to be here. Everybody told me we had the 32nd overall roster in the league. And if we start the playoffs right now, we in the playoffs. So
32nd is rough.
I don't know.
I think y'all got the 32nd.
But that's what they were saying, is what he was saying. That's what the statement was.
This was been said. Now, don't get me wrong. The Ravens is nice, so I'm, you know what I mean? I expect big things from them. They just added another weapon, which is going to help. So, you know what I mean? And, you know, it ain't too crazy, but I'm definitely picking with my heart this week. And it just is what it is.
It is, JB, man. I appreciate you.
Right now. Ain't no pressure on me. We playing with the house money.
That's it. Play your cards, yo. You be in Atlantic City. You be in Atlantic City. Tell them I play cards, okay?
Thanks, man.
All right, Jay, I appreciate you, guys. I'm gonna call you back later. We're gonna finish this episode.
Yes, sir.
All right. You heard it there. He said, come on, Ravens. Yep. He said, Lamar, come on over here. He said, come on over here, Lamar. But no, I think the Ravens are gonna win. Okay, just want to put that out there. All right. So let's talk about some surprise teams. Some surprise teams. However you see surprise in your head, you tell me what you think. You tell me some surprise teams. So you can name one and I name one. Let's do it like that. You name one, I name one. Then you name one and I name one.
All right. Well, so at the beginning of the year, no one knew the Commanders or the Steelers would be this good. Those were surprises, but that's cheating because they're winning their divisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
My surprise team, I think that the Seahawks are going to turn it around and they're going to make the playoffs. They are leading the league in yards. They have a top 10 offense. The defense is doing big things. And then when DK Metcalf is on the field, they're a completely different team. They're gonna have a division rival game against the Rams coming up this week, and then they go on a week 10 bye, late bye. so they can get healthy, get everything back together. Geno can put numbers up. They just got to translate that to wins. I feel like the Seahawks are going to be a playoff team.
Okay. I got one for you. The Buffalo Bills. Don't forget that this is supposed to be their rebuild year. So they're supposed to have lost all these pieces. They're supposed to be starting over. And I told you that Josh Allen was going to be the MVP of the league this year. With that said, their next couple games is very interesting. So they got the Dolphins, which I expect them to win. They got my Colts. I'm still calling them my Colts for right now. My Colts, and then they got the Chiefs, the Niners, the Rams, the Lions. You know what I mean? And so like their next like month and a half is actually pretty interesting. But like if they can go 3-3 in that, they'll run away with their division. And and I still think they're there. So boom. There's no way you could have thought that they would be where they are right now.
Not at all, no. But that being said, you thought they were because you called for them to be MVP. You gotta be a winner to be MVP.
Oh yeah, I still think he's going to be the MVP.
He is putting up MVP numbers. I'll give it to him. My second team, my AFC team, is the Chargers. The Chargers have everything but a standout receiver. They're putting up numbers at the quarterback position. My man only threw for one interception so far this season, but he only has 8 touchdowns on the season. The defense is doing exactly what they're supposed to. They're number 7 defense, number 9 against the pass, number 9 against the run. 18 sacks on the season so far. They only allowed 9 touchdowns. I think that my Harbaugh is the better coach, but this Harbaugh is an adequate coach. They got 2 running backs over there. They got everything but a receiver. If something translates to them throwing for more touchdowns, which I know Herbert is capable of, and now that the game plan is being simplified for him, I really think that this is a playoff team.
Okay. Same division. I'm going with the Denver Broncos. This is a surprise, and you know it's a surprise. There's no like I had to come on. You saw it on first of all, you saw it on the stories. I had to come on and say, you know what? The Denver Broncos are not bad, bro. They're not bad. And we thought that they were like, yes, people. It's not shocking that anybody thought that they were going to be the worst team in the whole league. And to be in the place where they are, the playoffs started today, they'd be in the playoffs. A seed ahead of the Chargers, by the way. That's crazy. Rookie quarterback, Sean Payton looked terrible. Conversation about him from last year with Russ and how all that happened. Defense building back up. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I mean, I still don't think they have quality wins. Like, if that's the case, then you really gotta go with the Commanders. They got quality wins on the season. Rookie quarterback. No one on the team is a grade A player. You know what I mean?
This could be your surprise team there, actually.
Yeah. And
I told you so even before the season started, I said if the Eagles and the Cowboys lose more than what's predicted, so they're both teams that the people looked at them and said they're going to win 11 or 12 games. If they lose, you know what I mean? I mean, if they only win in like 9 games, well, the Commanders can win that division. That's what I said. So the fact that they're in first place right now and how it's looking, no, I don't think it's shocking. Like, that's what's up.
yeah, that's a shock to me because, like, with the Chicago Bears, they're built to support a rookie, and you can see that. Like, they went out and got Swift. Swift is putting 100 yards up. They went out and got what's my man from the Chargers? They went out and got receiver. They got 2 receivers over there. James Daniels is making it look easy. He's making it look super easy.
I mean, 82% completion percentage. I mean, yeah, that looks pretty easy. All right. So how many more did you have?
That's it. Well, that and the Steelers. The Steelers is the other surprise team. I thought the Bengals would be running away. I thought we'd be coming in second. Like my division is always a toss up because we play each other very well, and there was so much talent. I mean, the Browns just got rid of a player, but they picked up a player from Broncos. You got the Steelers had everything butting off. Like they had a great defense, but they had no offense. Now look at Russell Wilson. That team is completely transformed. Like my Ravens, like I told you, 1,000-yard rusher with Lamar Jackson. The fact that the Steelers is leading the division is a surprise to me. They flip-flop quarterbacks, even though they were winning. Didn't make sense to me, but I always wanted Russ to start and Justin Fields to get that time to actually learn and be in a system and not be just going out there doing whatever. I think that is another surprise team right there.
Okay. So I got one more surprise team. Actually, my surprise team is actually the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh wow.
Especially with you guys now getting Deontay Johnson. Now it's funny because we already talked about this on on the Cause You Know Football Facebook group, but I really like the move, and I feel like that solidified one of the holes that I felt like that you guys had. But watching you guys and how y'all meshed, I'm humbled by how all that happened. I thought all year I likened the Derrick Henry to you guys to and I always forget his name right now. I cannot remember his name. He was a running back for the Dallas Cowboys, DeMarco Murray. I likened Derrick Henry to the Ravens to DeMarco Murray because when he was with Dallas, he was a downhill runner and he made Tony Romo and Dak Prescott look probably better in my opinion than both of them actually were. Then he got to the Eagles and they put him in the shotgun and they didn't deviate from that. And it wasn't the style of running that he was used to or accommodating to, and it didn't work out. And Lamar Jackson, for the better part of his career, is a shotgun type guy. Well, at this point, he's going out of the pistol. He's going under center. He's shifted his game to make it easier for Derrick Henry, and in response, it's made once again even Lamar Jackson possibly look like this might be the best year that he's ever had. I think that you guys are definitely a legitimate threat to the to the Chiefs when you put it that honestly you lost to them because a heel went out of bounds and they've lost more. Like these players that these moves that they've made are more filling holes that they wanted. They had the team that they wanted. It got fucked up, injuries happen. So for me, you adding pieces to what's not an injuries, I think puts you closer to them. And I really do think that you guys will be a threat to them. To the Chiefs.
Hopkins is a scary guy to be with Mahomes.
Say that again?
DeAndre Hopkins is a scary guy to be with Mahomes. He's doing it with nobody.
I understand that, but he wanted Rashee Rice to be there. So like if in their ideal situation, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy are their wide receivers. That's their ideal situation. This is picking up where all this is figuring it out.
What you just said is not true. Brown, Rice, and Worthy is them being able to afford a Camry, right? They still got Worthy, and now they got Hopkins. And if give Hopkins 3 weeks, they upgraded a Camry to an Acura. Like Hopkins is better than Rice and Brown combined, and I like Brown. He was a Raven. Rice surprised me, but Hopkins has been great with nobody. Like that's an upgrade. They didn't know that they would be able to make that upgrade. They didn't think that they would have to because next year they might have to pay him or they're not going to have him. But Hopkins is the best receiver that they've had since Tyreek Hill, and at one point Hopkins was one
not
of the
today. For his career, yes, but not today.
How would you say that? Because
Rashee Rice is better than him today.
No, I can't say that
Rashee Rice is better than him.
I can't say that. You know why I can't say that? Because last year, Derrick Henry looked like he was done, right? You put him on a capable team with weapons around him, and now he's the best running back in football. Hopkins has been in a terrible situation for the past 7 years, and he still is sure-handed. You put him on one side, Travis Kelce the other, and Isaiah Worthy to go out there, what you're saying, all right, maybe it's not a brand new Acura, but I'll take a 5-year-old Acura over a new Camry, and maybe it's just me, but them Acuras last. You know what? I'm not even going to say Acura. I'm going to say Alexis, because that's how much faith I have in Hopkins and how much a bad organization will fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
Seen it over and over again. Like, it's the Titans sucked the life out of Hopkins. Where else was Hopkins at? Hopkins has had bad.
Arizona.
Okay, look what happened to Arizona. You like?
No, I mean they also in first place right now too. So just keep that in mind.
Huh?
They also in first place right now. Keep that in mind.
Okay, 1A 1B type shit, but got it.
I don't care until they ain't the champs. Till they ain't the champs. No, I'm just playing with you.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, you know what I mean? I'm a fan of what the Ravens have done.
You know he had 1,000 yards last year.
Yes.
DeAndre Hopkins had 1,000 yards last year.
Yes.
Did Rice have 1,000 yards?
He got a Super Bowl last year
with Mahomes. Everyone gets Super. That's like. I mean, everybody go to Steph Curry to win a championship.
All right. We'll see what happens next couple weeks. Because I gotta end this episode before the time runs out. So with that said, you came through. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was a good episode. I must say, this was very flowy. You see, this was very flowy. You see what I'm saying? I have to give that to you. You know, you came on, you did this, you know. Yeah, this was good. This was good stuff, you know. With that said, guys, please check out the full episodes on Spotify and YouTube. Check out the clips on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We all over the place. So, you know, I like your jersey, by the way, man. You in here, you support your team and everything. You know, it's hard for me to even say this, but unfortunately, because you don't know football. I appreciate you, brother. Please come back soon. Don't stay away too long.
All right, brother.
All right, just like Martin said, see you when I see you. Peace.